We are back with Rod and Patti Blagojevich. Rod, you were on our show a few months ago, and at that time, Patti, you were in Costa Rica on a show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. That had to have been a pretty crazy experience. Why did you do it?
Well, I did for a lot of reasons, but the main reason was that they wanted my husband on the show. And so due to circumstances beyond our control, he was not able to go, and NBC came to me with this offer. Would I take his place? And so we had to think about it a lot and do a lot of soul searching because I'd never been away from our children for any length of time at all. But, you know, it was an opportunity to be able to help support my family, in a significant way. You know, after my husband was removed from office, I got fired from my job working at a not-for-profit that helped homeless people because they didn't like the publicity, they didn't like the cameras coming to work. And so we were in a situation where both of us were unemployed, and I had this opportunity to be able to do this very unconventional thing to help support my family, but it would allow us to stay in the home that our daughters have been living in since they were babies, to allow them to continue to go to the school that they've been going to. And I felt that with all that was going around with us, I needed to keep things as stable as possible for them. And that meant keeping some things like their school and their home the same while we were living in the middle of this hurricane.
Of stability, it's a little difficult to maintain, I guess, the normal way of life because your income is obviously gone. Your income is gone. The book may be a way that you can recover some income, and yet Representative Jack Franks of Illinois has gotten passed a piece of legislation that says that if you're convicted, I guess he's actually tried to say that you can't get any profits off the book.
Well, the book, if this law that's unconstitutional would apply right now, they could actually prevent me from earning a living on the book. I welcome the challenge. I know what the First Amendment is, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. But if I could say, Mike, how great Patti was to do that. I mean, she ate a tarantula in the jungles of Costa Rica. All this because she's a loving mother and she loves her kids, and she deserves all the credit. And then I was left for the whole month of June with our two little girls, which is something I never did by myself. And
now that's a reality show.
Yeah, that's a reality show. I've got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that in the trial, one of the things you're going to have to do is to bring some people in to testify. Mm-hmm. Would you subpoena Rahm Emanuel to testify if it meant the difference between you being free and going to jail?
Well, absolutely. And not only that, but it's to the extent that you can actually ask the President of the United States to come in and testify.
That was my next question. Will you ask the President of the United States, Barack Obama, to testify at your trial?
I certainly would be interested in doing that because whatever conversations he and I had were perfectly lawful. I'd love to have him as one of our star witnesses. Whether or not that could happen, I don't know. Michelle Obama could very well be a witness in this case because there are some relationships with Tony Resco that she can probably shed some light on, which would put in context these false allegations in relation to me. Senator Reid, Senator Durbin, Senator Menendez, all the leading Democrats. And let me point out, it's not that they did anything wrong either. We had political discussions about trying to put together the best result for the people of Illinois. I write in the book that my first choice for senator was someone I did not like. As I say, how much do I love the people of Illinois? Can I make her a senator? Because her father's been blocking good things. When I considered all the equities, that was the best deal I can get for the people. So I decided that that was what we should do. And again, that's the truth. And if I could just make this clear again, the prosecutor who brought these false charges and said that he was stopping a crime spree before it happened, the morning before, Mike, this is a peculiar coincidence. The morning before, I'm telling my chief of staff over the telephone that I want him to work out the tactics on this deal. The next morning at 6 a.m., we have FBI agents in our home, in our bedroom, and our little Annie, who's 5 years old, I write about that in the book, crawled into bed with us. Unfortunately, she had been sleeping and didn't have to see
Before we run out of time, and that would be a horrible experience for anybody. I've got to ask you a question. Did David Axelrod, one of the chief advisors of the president, ever ask you about running for president? Did that ever happen?
He mentioned it. He talked to me. The irony, it's very ironic. I was at O'Hare Airport in Chicago and had some people who actually wanted autographs. And there was a guy who came up to me with a picture of me and then U.S. Senator Barack Obama, and I'm the governor. And it was a colored photo, and he asked me to autograph it, and I wrote a tale of two guys whose careers have gone in different directions. And then I signed it. But the day after John Kerry was beat by President Bush, David Axelrod, who had worked for me when I was a congressman, called me at home on the Wednesday and suggested that, you know, a Midwestern new face, Democrat from the heartland of America was the right profile to challenge Hillary Clinton in the next election season. You should consider that, have an open mind. He was obviously trolling around for potential candidates. Interestingly, he had the right horse in the stable already because
it'd be interesting to find out if he acknowledges that he was encouraging you and soliciting you as a client to run for president. We'll have to ask Mr. Axelrod. Rod, Patti, thank you very much for being here today. Pleasure to have you here. Coming up, her cooking is so